helping people with those with dementia live and thrive. Today we have the wonderful Kimberly Wolfe, who is the project coordinator of Dementia Friendly. And today she will be discussing her contribution she had throughout the state of Alabama. Thank you, Kimberly, so much for joining us
Thank
today.
you for having me. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. Okay, so what do you do here in Montgomery?
Well, I am the coordinator for Dementia Friendly Alabama. I've been on the job for about 6 months now, and I'm basically creating partnerships throughout our community to be more inclusive of individuals that have Alzheimer's and their caregivers as well.
Okay. Okay, so are you from Montgomery?
I am from Montgomery. I have lived here my entire life, and I love living here. It's a big part of my world, and I'm happy to be able to serve the community in this capacity.
Okay, great. Okay, so where did you attend college here?
I went to Huntington College.
Okay.
Go Hawks.
And it's in Montgomery?
It's in Montgomery.
Okay.
It's off of Fairview Avenue.
Okay.
It's a small liberal arts college, and I studied music there for a while, and also I'm an English major.
Okay.
So.
Okay, great. So while in college, did you know that you were going to be a part of something regarding mental health and/or dementia?
I didn't know for sure. I always thought I would go on to do something with music, which I ended up running the Montgomery Symphony Orchestra for a while, and so I knew my destiny was going to have something to do with music.
Okay.
I never imagined I would be able to be an advocate for individuals that have Alzheimer's or that have mental illness, and it really is an honor to be able to speak up for people like that who may not be able to speak up for themselves.
Absolutely. I totally understand. And music, I love music as well.
Yeah.
So, well, we have that in common.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so when did Dementia Friendly America begin?
They began after a summit that they held at the White House in D.C. I think it was about 2010 when it all came together and they launched Dementia Friendly America. Okay. And so Alabama is one of many states across the U.S. that is involved in Dementia Friendly America, and that our program is Dementia Friendly Alabama now.
Alabama,
so,
okay,
yeah.
Got it. Okay, so tell me, what is dementia? Do people ever come back from it once they have it or been diagnosed with it?
You know, dementia is one of those things that a lot of people deal with. It typically affects those that are getting older. It can come into play as Alzheimer's or Parkinson's. Later onset forms of dementia come into play with Parkinson's. And I'm not a specialist on Alzheimer's.
Of course, right.
I have personal experience, like a lot of people do, with family members that have dealt with it over the years. But it's basically cognitive issues that occur. Trouble, remembering things, and trouble with, sometimes it affects your motor skills, sometimes it affects your skills as far as just walking and things of that nature. So, we try to be as inclusive of individuals that have been diagnosed with it, and, there's certainly a lot of challenges that come along with that diagnosis.
Absolutely. All right. What does a dementia-friendly community look like?
That's a great question.
Okay.
I would say a really great model of a dementia-friendly community would be the involvement of churches, schools, businesses that all want to be inclusive of those that are dealing with that diagnosis. So it really involves everybody. It takes a village, as they say, to be more aware of the struggles that people face, and to be also, supportive of the caregivers that are taking care of those individuals every day.
Okay. All right. So can you tell me about one of the most warming memories you've had while being a part of Dementia Friendly America?
Yeah, I think I love dealing with people every day. Dealing with seniors is extra special, though. And I think one of the warmest memories I've had, I played the violin for respite care at First United Methodist Church. And I went in expecting and hoping to be a blessing to those people. And I played the violin, and they responded, and they loved it. And I left feeling like they had blessed me,
Absolutely.
And I really, it's always great when you can combine your gifts with what you do in your job, and you know, to be able to step into that role and play violin for them and to see them respond and to see them be engaged is such a powerful thing.
Absolutely.
So that would probably be, right now, is one of my fondest and greatest memories, and I look forward to doing more with music and respite care in the future too.
Yeah, I totally agree. Just having an impact on people in life, I think it just makes us feel good, you know, naturally. So I totally understand that. And we talked earlier before the show, and you mentioned that you were a brain advocate.
Yes.
Okay, so can you tell me more about that?
Well, you know, I say brain advocate because I was the executive director for the National Alliance on Mental Illness for the state of Alabama. And I went around the state speaking about mental illness and talking to individuals that have been diagnosed with either schizophrenia or bipolar disorder or dealing with depression. And Alzheimer's, you know, it also affects the brain. And so I've found myself in these roles where I'm advocating for individuals that can't advocate for themselves. And so I call myself a brain advocate at this point. I enjoy speaking to people and talking about mental illness because I've personally had some experiences with it.
Same.
Yeah, yeah.
So I totally understand that. Okay, so since I did mention mental health earlier, what is your viewpoint regarding mental health in the world in general? Do you think it is being discussed appropriately? How do you feel about that?
You know, I think we still face a stigma, and it's unfortunate. But I think it takes brave individuals that want to talk about it openly, that, you know, share their own personal stories, just like, you know,
me and you.
We shared our stories
Absolutely.
beforehand, and, you know, I'm not afraid to say I've been diagnosed with bipolar disorder. And I live and have a beautiful, fruitful life and enjoy my career and enjoy my family and my friends just like anybody else would. And so sometimes it starts with you as the person to be able to speak up and speak out, and you know, it helps other people because you never know what somebody else is going through.
Absolutely, influence. And looking at us and we're still prospering, you know, it's big.
It is.
It's big.
It is.
So thank you for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So what are some great things that the victim's family has shared with you about the program changing their lives?
I would say, you know, they just feel like they're not alone.
Absolutely.
And, you know, people, it is so easy in this world to feel like you are alone. And Dementia Friendly Alabama is one of those programs where we're here with resources. We have a dementia friendly resource guide that we give out for free.
Okay.
And a lot of people that receive that guide say, oh, we didn't know this existed. Thank you so much. Now we kind of have a blueprint for where to go after the diagnosis. And so we just want people to feel like, hey, you've got somebody in your corner, and that's us.
Okay. All right, thank you for that. So what do you do on your spare time here in Montgomery?
I love music. I just love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I play violin or fiddle. I'm trained classically, but I've fallen off the deep end and I play fiddle and country music. And I'm also trained in opera, but I also sing jazz.
Okay.
So a lot of my free time goes to playing in a duo partnership called Todd Fulmer and the Lone Wolfe. And we play around town. We also play, we volunteer and play for different events like at assisted living homes and things like that. And we're pretty new duo, but we're staying busy right now.
Okay.
So it's good.
And what is fiddle music? I've never heard
Fiddle,
of that.
well, think like Hank Williams music and gypsy jazz and just, you know, Irish fiddle. Like, there's a lot of genres that it goes down, but yeah, it's definitely my passion.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it sounds cool.
Yeah.
I've never heard of it. I'd like to get introduced to it, though.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay. So are there any famous people or organizations that have collaborated with Dementia Friendly America?
You know, that's a great question. I'm not aware of anybody in particular. Now, I know I keep up with stuff going on in Nashville pretty tightly.
Okay.
And I know that like Brad Paisley and his wife Kimberly Paisley do a lot as far as Alzheimer's awareness goes.
Okay.
And I feel like as we roll into the future, there's going to be a lot more of that taking place. And you know, celebrities championing, you know, people that have Alzheimer's and fighting for a cure. And so I do see that happening as more and more. And, you know, you never know when something like here in Montgomery, I'll meet somebody and be able to connect them with our mission and plug them in and have a fundraiser. You just never know.
Okay.
So, but I know there's a lot of celebrities that that do, champion Alzheimer's and trying to find a cure for it. So.
Okay. Okay, so when it comes to advertising the movement, how well are you all doing with that?
I think we're doing pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah, I had a meeting with the commissioner's office a couple of months ago, and they were really excited about the memory cafes that we're doing.
Okay.
And the memory cafes, just to kind of give you a little background,
Okay.
it's basically it's basically a time for people that have the diagnosis of Alzheimer's or any sort of dementia and their caregivers to come together and just have a time to socialize and a relaxed environment and a little bit of activities, some food. And so we've been really excited to host those memory cafes, and with that has come a lot of publicity.
Okay.
So, it's
That's
always
great.
a good thing just to
Yeah.
get, the more you can get that out there and share with the community, the better.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I totally understand that. Okay, so at what locations in the community do you have your posters and banners hanging up, if you do?
Well, as far as posters and banners, we have stickers that go in on the doors of businesses
Okay.
and different organizations that want to be community partners with us.
Okay.
So there are little purple stickers, circular. So if you see one of those at a business, just say, hey, thanks for doing what you're doing.
Okay.
Thanks for your partnership
Absolutely.
with Dementia Friendly
Will
Alabama.
do. Will do. Okay, so what is something that you would like to see in Montgomery come about regarding dementia? Like more volunteers, different awareness, more awareness?
I would say, just from my short amount of time, it's about 6 months that I've been on this job, I would say there are so many wonderful resources out there. And I think just getting those resources out to the public more and more, and also the organizations that have the resources coming together more and more would be what I would personally desire, because a lot of people they don't realize what's out there to help them. And so I've had the privilege of going to Care Connection luncheons and meeting different people in this field of work, and I just think, if only we could get this out to the community more and more. And it just takes time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you so much,
Thank you.
Kimberly, for coming today. It was such a pleasure meeting you.
It's
You're
a pleasure to
wonderful
meet you
person.
too.
All right. Thank you all so much for tuning in to Montgomery Focus. Bye-bye.